So whenever possible, I think it's great to bring in a third party or external expert. I think there's a certain element of credibility that comes with that, and I always think it's useful to have a different lens, a different perspective, because people within these four walls or within our organisation are always going to look at things with an understood slant, an understood paradigm. And when you're doing this kind of thought leadership session or trying to inspire people to think a bit differently, I think it's important that you lead by example. So hence bringing in a third party. I think there is a common level of understanding, I think speaking very broadly, that AI is here, it's not going anywhere. You've got to get used to it. It's no longer about when or how, but or if, but it's already here. So we need to get our teams thinking about it differently. And again, I think that unfortunately tends to come from a more negative standpoint, where like how many jobs it's going to replace, or if it's just used to filter CVs, and I guess quite a regressive approach. So again, wherever possible, I think it's always important to put it in a positive light and say, look, this is how our consumers are utilising it. We can't be left behind. And I think we wanted people to feel inspired. I think we wanted people to feel, if they weren't already, to be interested. I think it's a fascinating topic and interesting how people are changing their behaviours. So we wanted to generate interest, we wanted to inspire, and we wanted to a degree educate if possible. It definitely wasn't a training session, but I think for some people they definitely took away the different apps and the uses for them. I think it definitely surpassed my expectations. I think I was hoping that people might be a bit interested, but the engagement in the room was fantastic. I think it's not something in a hospitality environment. We don't spend a lot of time talking about technology, talking about AI. We talk about the guest, we talk about the customer, we talk about the employee all the time, which is a good thing. But it does mean that these tools, these kind of peripheries that we have to rely on, don't get as much spotlight. And I think it was great to kind of put that in the spotlight, even if people were sat there starting out thinking, well, hang on, this is marketing or this is IT. I'm in housekeeping. How's that impacting me? At the end, people were excited about how, for example, that example on housekeeping. Well, if I've got a room allocation at the start of every day, rather than me sat there and plugging in who's working and who's in the hotel, I can now build a tool for this. So I've got back an hour a day. So yeah, I think it was fantastic. Everyone got involved and everyone's been talking about it ever since. I think I, as someone who considers themselves more up on what's going on than most, still got loads out of it in terms of what's coming down the track, how things are working. I think you'd said it's a phrase you coined, but I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna take that forward. I think the idea of the AI shadow, I think it's a fascinating concept, because it really is quite stark when you look at, particularly with our business, there is a great deal of expertise, global talent, time, energy, money that is spent on our brand. We've recently launched this incredible document called The Playbook of the House, and it covers every aspect, every area in great detail. If you want to know what colour the wall should be in a city chic hotel in this part of the world, it'll tell you the Pantone. It's to the finite degree, and almost to sort of think, well, that doesn't matter anymore. We've got to make sure that AI is recommending us on how we want to be perceived. I just think, without sort of over-egging it, I suppose, I think that's something every business needs to be aware of, not just us. Moment or idea. I think for most people afterwards coming up to me or speaking, over lunch over the past few days, it's been about the use of the tools. I think there was a discussion after you left about how our company really wants us to try and embrace Copilot because it's embedded within our systems already, and that we didn't want the excitement to mean everyone starts building their own apps and contacting guests. But at the same time, my team have already been using Gamma. I've got a presentation open on the other screen right now. So yeah, I think it's that real practical, tangible aspect of there's a thought leadership piece, there's an inspiration piece, but then also from Friday, people have been using tools they weren't using already. So thank you.
Amazing.
I really like the fact that we're not bringing in the head of IT from the Mandarin Oriental to talk about this. I think the fact that you come from what I understand to be anyway a marketing background, the fact that you were introduced to me via a revenue conference, I just think speaks to the sort of the global pull of this topic and of this sector. And I think you are clearly an expert in your field. I mean, the way you spoke about it very conversationally with at ease, but we're also able to field questions and bespoke parts of that to our company and our sector. So yeah, you clearly know what you're doing, or you've just got very clever AI telling you what to say. I think any organisation that is currently thinking about how it's impacting their future, their day-to-day work, their personnel, should explore as many opportunities as possible to put experts in front of their people who can help them feel more comfortable with it. And I think you're a great example of that. As I said, I think it's particularly powerful when you're not bringing in, excuse the phrase, but someone to teach you how to suck eggs. We would have been remiss to bring in a hospitality expert to talk to us about hospitality. I think it lands in a new space that means it's a leveler. Everyone's thinking about it from the same perspective. You're coming in, you're credible in your field, and we're not here to learn about our field, we're here to learn about what you're talking about. So I think it's particularly useful, and going back to that point about the AI shadow, I think every business really should be made aware of that point, if nothing else. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. I mean, I don't know if it's helpful or not, but I'm also hoping to talk to you in future for other speaking arrangements. We have, I'm part of an HR body in London that represents many, many businesses, and I think, again, last year doing a talk with a similar vein, really to try and get people to look at AI in a it's not about, oh, this is negative, how are we going to mitigate the disaster? It's about, okay, well, this is here, how do we use it properly? How do we extrapolate the value? How do we find the opportunity? And I think the more we can talk about it in that frame, using experts like yourself, the better we're all going to be.